Let's start in Philadelphia with a Jalen Hurts answer that should be shown to every single youth football player. Listen to this.
We might look at a quarterback and say, okay, well, he threw for 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, but his team lost. And therefore, he's good, but you can't look at quarterback wins as a stat because the guy played great, his team lost, and it's not his fault that he lost. You seem not to care about that stuff. You're all about, did the Eagles win, did they not win? How did you get to that point?
By losing.
Right to the point. We appreciate that, Marcus. What's your reaction?
Bruh, it is, I mean, leadership defined. Every time this dude step up to the podium, he understands what he needs to say. Sometimes I do want to see him curse and go crazy, but that's just not who he is. Jalen is straight to the point. He understands what this is about. It's about winning. And when he got paid, he said the winning is more important than the money. It wouldn't be to me, but to him it seems to be that way. So he was telling the truth.
If Nick Saban was a quarterback, he would be Jalen Hurts. That's what you're seeing in every single thing. He gives you nothing.
It's time for some self-reflection if you're the Dallas Cowboys and say, who are we?
A week after being the darlings of the NFL, the Cowboys are coming off that shocking loss to the Cardinals. Ed Werder joining us now with much more as the Patriots roll into town. And Ed, Zeke Elliott is making his return to Dallas. What are his former teammates saying about that?
Yeah, you know, Kevin, there are only 2 running backs in Cowboys history with more rushing yards and touchdowns than Ezekiel Elliott, Emmitt Smith and Tony Dorsett. And like the 2 Hall of Famers, Elliott will finish his career with another team, signing with the Patriots during training camp. That makes him the opponent Sunday for Dak Prescott, the quarterback who was picked in the 4th round in the same draft where Elliott went 4th overall. Teammates for 7 seasons, best friends to this day. Just outside the locker room a short time ago, Prescott told us he had a lengthy conversation last night with Elliott. He also revealed that Elliott informed him a few days before he was released that it was coming, so the quarterback would not be surprised. Elliott, as you may remember, had the worst season of his career a year ago, but told the Dallas media yesterday he's still a very good running back. And Prescott, well, he expects him to be determined to prove that on Sunday against his former teammates.
Yeah, I mean, I expect Zeke's best every time he gets on the field. I mean, that just comes from the friendship we have, the standard of each other, and yeah, I mean, he said it's going to be emotional. Yeah, I can't imagine that he doesn't come in and run just a little bit harder maybe than he naturally does, knowing the trash talk that we all just kind of naturally do over the years, but then getting to play against the guys that you've trash talked for years. Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, this matchup seems timely for Elliott, who's coming off his best game with the Patriots, rushing for 80 yards against the Jets. The Cowboys surrendered 222 rushing yards to the Cardinals in the loss last week. The defensive players, Kevin, have vowed to avenge that performance. Micah Parsons smiled at the prospect of playing against Elliott on Sunday, saying, quote, "I feel like Zeke's coming for me. He used to tell me all the time, you're lucky I'm not out there because I'd really get you."
Ed, thank you so much. By the way, keep in mind, Zeke Elliott looking for his first touchdown as a Patriot. He's averaging 4.4 yards per carry, 28 carries, 122 yards so far in that weird blue and red combo, because when you look at Zeke, it's just weird not seeing him in that silver with the star. Marcus, what do you want to see from the Cowboys offense here without Zeke heading into the weekend?
Yeah, look, Bill Belichick obviously is known for taking away your number 1 guy, so I think it'll be a lot of attention on CD. With that being said, I think this is an intermediate to middle of the field and maybe some explosive from the slot position, and that's Brandon Cooks for me. This is a game where he may have some matchups favorable to get going in this game, along with the tight ends. But I think the middle of the field is where you can kind of live, because Bill Belichick made it a point to take Tyreek Hill away from the Miami Dolphins and has done it as well as anybody to 40 yards, even though he had a touchdown. So I think that's going to be the case with CeeDee Lamb, and these other guys are going to have to step up. Dak is going to have to take some chances in the middle of the field and be accurate and get the ball in Cook's hands along with some of the tight ends, Ferguson.
Tricky Marcus Spears, you tricky feller, you. You know that, Bill Belichick. And CeeDee Lamb is not going to get off. And the reason he's not is because Christian Gonzalez will be lined up wherever he is the entire day, the same way we saw against Tyreek Hill, Devontae Smith, and Garrett Wilson. And they do it in such creative ways. We know how difficult it is to stop Miami, especially when they put Tyreek in this fast inside-out motion. Christian Gonzalez is playing the back half. Even with the look away by Tua, watch this speed turn Marcus and Kev gets back into the play. We know what sort of speed Tyreek has. Easy interception. Now watch him in man-to-man zero coverage. This is the 2-minute. Right now, 4th and 2. You got him locked up with Devontae Smith, who is the go-to guy in these spread formation. This is cover 0. Look at 48. Pump it up. Pump it up. Pump it up. Now they go. They've inverted the line of scrimmage. Matthew Judon is free. Devontae Smith is actually inside where there's no help. Christian Gonzalez gets around with that length, gets his hand on the football. This is a dude that can absolutely ball, and he's able to do it in different dimensions, whether it's press coverage, off coverage, even in zone. You're going to see him locked up with CeeDee Lamb in many of these cases, sometimes with help, sometimes without. So the Dallas Cowboys are going to have to find a way to do something different than what they've normally done with CeeDee throughout the first 3 weeks.
RC, your eyes is as good as anybody that cover these DBs and secondary guys. Me watching Christian Gonzalez, is he trending towards being one of them ones, bro?
Oh, Christian Gonzalez right now, if I had to compare him to anybody, I'd compare him to Pat Surtain II, who we know right now is a top 5 cornerback in this league and maybe number 1 last year. That smooth, that polished, that good.
And keep in mind, we know how Belichick is with his D-backs. Once he falls in love, you're that guy. And the Cowboys are 6.5-point favorites in this matchup as they look to win their 10th straight game at home.